Hi, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, a daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is April 2nd, and today's episode is going to cover the latest news of a new Smart Node release, version 1.12.1. We're also going to be talking about a NodeSet community call that's taking place later today, and we're going to be talking about the deposit pool. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So first of all, we're going to be talking about this latest Smart Node release, and I like how Fornax is now using the Smart Node as two words and kind of capitalizing them. So yeah, that Dave. Anyway, he says today we are releasing Smart Node 1.12.1. Smart Node, it's a recommended update for all users as it contains important new features and client updates. And then there's a link to the GitHub that has the full notes for the release. But here there's like a shortened version, so we have client updates. The Lighthouse updated to 5.1.3. This includes a block lookup efficiency fix to fix stop propagation of slashing for testers who've already been slashed, a fix to the disable up NP flag, and a couple of metric fixes, and several bug fixes related to the handling of blobs. And then Teku updated to 24.3.1. That includes improvements to CPU and network issues, also introduces validator slashing prevention feature. It looks like, I'm going to actually talk about that in a minute. And then with Prism, we're on 5.0.2. And this release has many optimizations, UX improvements, and bug fixes. With Nimbus, we're 24.3.0, and that includes additional beacon API support and resilience to suboptimal network conditions. And then there's rETH. So this is only for Haleshki, and this has been updated to 0.2.0.2.0 beta 4, and this has improved performance and bug fixes. So Fornax goes on to say, note that some clients like Teku, Prism, Nimbus started using default parameters to prioritize locally produced blocks unless MEV boost provides a 10% higher value. We are supporting this decision from the client teams, and the Smart Node will use these default values. Node operators who wish to go back to the previous configuration may override these parameters. And then there's some Smart Node changes for itself. So there's a functionality to allow you to receive notifications about the health and important events of your Rocket Pool Smart Node. Check the guides for more detail. Thanks to Active Scott for this contribution. This is actually a really big deal. I think I might we should dig into that a little bit. So let's open that and we can have a look at it. And then fix approximate RPL rewards panel for RPIP 30 changes, and Chaos contributed to that, and fix the version obsolete issue. The upgrade will automatically remove the obsolete references in your system using the default installed location. If you still see warnings, run the following commands to adjust your Rocket Pool directory, and then there's information on installing it. So this really exciting thing here is this functionality that allows you to receive notifications. So this is actually really cool because like how Beacon Chain has an app and a website, and you can get emails and notifications on your phone if your validator goes down. Well, this will start happening within the actual Smart Node stack now. But this is a GMC funded feature that has been added to the Smart Node stack, and we can see here that it says monitoring your Smart Node stack with alert notifications. The Smart Node alert notification functionality allows you to receive notifications about the health and important events of your Rocket Pool Smart Node. So there's information about how to set up the alert manager and using the Grafana dashboard. But the way it works is there's a bunch of different kinds of notifications that you can sign up for and that you can opt into, and then you'll get communicated from those. I haven't actually set it up myself yet, so I can't give you too many details on how it works, but I know that people are really excited about using this feature. Okay, and just as we have a new update, of course, we have a new POAP for the update. So here, Schifrin made a post saying 1.12.1 of the Smart Node has been released. Tons of clients have been updated, and a few Smart Node features have been added, such as notification and an updated RPL reward panel. Update your Smart Node within 24 hours and post a screenshot to receive a POAP. So here, a bunch of people have already started doing this, and Schifrin had some information saying the GMC recently approved an application for POAP raffles. It would be wise to assume that the next upgrade master POAP will include a raffle with RPL prizes, which is actually really nice. So people here are already joining the thread and sharing the screenshots. And I think no one is using geth so far, and if you are using geth, you will get shamed. So actually, like a whole bunch of people are in the white background gang this time. There's Halulu and Dookie too. Normally I'm the only person with a white background. So, and Dago Duck has got it's like, I don't even know what color that is, like taupe. I'm not very good with my color names. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, get your screenshot of your updated client in there to get the POAP, and the POAPs will now equal prizes, which of course is awesome for everyone. And that's just Shifrin saying that again. Okay, next we have this update from Maverick, and he is in this protocol update, and he says, hey everyone, if you are keen to learn more about what NodeSet have been building to help scale Rocket Pool, come along to the next community call here in the Discord chit chat channel at 1 a.m. UTC, which I think is 9 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you bring your questions, and then there's a link. And then Maverick also goes on to say, if you missed Langer's sharing the latest about Houston, Saturn, and Starknet on last week's call, you can catch up with the recording on YouTube. I already talked about that last week. But here we've got NodeSet coming on. So I guess NodeSet will be answering questions about what they're doing, how they want to scale Rocket Pool. And I'm sure that there'll be some questions that get asked that will be a little bit more tricky about, their admin controls that they'll have, and why they are not permissionless in their node operators and all that kind of stuff. So I think Nick and Wanda will do a really great job of presenting their case, and I'm curious to see if there's going to be any tokenomics discussion that comes up. I wouldn't be surprised if there is. So definitely tune in and bring your popcorn. Okay, next we're going to be talking about the deposit pool, and we've not talked about the deposit pool for quite a while, but the deposit pool actually has space right now for around 2,500 ETH for people to mint rETH with that. This is the first time in a while that the deposit pool has not been completely full. And in fact, over the weekend, we reached nearly 24,000 ETH in there, which was a whole lot over the amount that we needed to have. And then a whale, reduced their bond from 16 ETH to 8 ETH validators, and that took up a big chunk of going over. But also there is a liquidity pool that has ETHifies ETH as one side of liquidity, and Rocket Pool's rETH as the other side of liquidity. And it seems like people are leaving ETHify because they got their season 1 of the airdrop, and they don't really want to wait around for the season 2 of the airdrop. So they're cashing out of that pool, and in doing so, it's leading to some burning happening for rETH as the pool comes into balance. So that is definitely something that has impacted the deposit pool. However, this deposit pool got emptied, I think, a little while ago, maybe yesterday or overnight. So the fact that it hasn't filled up yet, I think, speaks to the fact that people are using their ETH and farming liquid restaking tokens. I know that I'm doing that. I have some ETH token amount of ETH in Swell right now, farming their LST token and also Eigenlayer at the same time. So I think that's the same thing that's happening with a whole lot of other people who normally would be, using up the deposit pool here, and now actually using ETHify and Renzo and Swell and a whole bunch of other liquid restaking tokens instead of just getting like a regular LST, which is what they would have done 6 months ago instead. I think this actually is going to carry on for the next few months, at least until we get through this wave of LRT token airdrops and then Eigenlayer airdrops and AVS airdrops. As people kind of farm out of those, you'll see that market share for these LRT tokens, as the incentives kind of go away, people will find a new shiny object to airdrop farm, and that's I expect that will happen. I don't know how it's going to work out in reality, because the fact is that I don't know if it's Corp, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that it's not Corp, but it might be Corp. But ETHify and Swell, these guys have been doing really well. this puffer finance as well. There's a whole lot of protocols now that are taking market share away from Lido especially, but also from Rocket Pool and others as well. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. But yeah, what we're seeing here is that the deposit pool has space. I think what we need is Jasper to make a tweet, because normally Jasper's tweets get the deposit pool filled up like within hours after that happens. So here, if we have a look at the deposit pool on Rocket Scan, you can see that the deposits coming into Rocket Pool have actually been really low for the last few months. Really, we've had double-digit days happening since January. A whole lot of them in February. Not so many. Yeah, and then there seems like there be some data missing here, but since February, but I think Pateris hasn't been keeping up to date with Rocket Scan that well. I think we need to give him another GMC grant. But this has been quite a tough period for Rocket Pool in terms of cumulative deposits. It's gone kind of flat because the deposit pool has been full, of course. There's no way to arb the deposit pool because there's not much of a premium in the secondary market. So Rocket Pool's growth has pretty much like flatlined at the moment in terms of rETH, and it's actually going down for node operator ETH and rETH as well. But hopefully some hype around Houston and then NodeSet especially will be able to get those numbers going back up in the right direction. Of course, we'll need rETH minting demand to be there as well to really help that process. So then here we had some discussions happening about Rocket Pool's rETH's APY, and Hectorium was saying, sorry if this has been answered before, I couldn't find it, but why is Lido offering 3.3% APY and Rocket Pool only 2.8%? Is this going to change at some point in the future? Thanks. And Val says, and then Tim Johnson says, you do know no API is random, right? So one week this protocol gets more blocks, another week another protocol gets more blocks. And Valdorf said no, Lido is actually consistently higher, but I think those amounts are a little bit because of luck. We tend to be a little bit closer than that. And then the question comes down to time frame and how that works. But normally, if we hit lottery blocks in Rocket Pool, that increases our APY or APR, whatever you want to call it, for that period. And then people kind of explaining why our rewards are less than someone like Lido. So here Ishka says, the deposit pool holds a chunk of unstaked ETH, which acts as a drag on the APR, but allows you to unstake instantly. This, along with higher commission for node operators, 14% to 10%, is why it is unlikely to change in the short term, as we're typically node operator limited compared to rETH demand. And then Val had this point here as well, explaining what he thinks the main 4 factors are. So he says we have more idle rETH because we're decentralized. This is not yet distributed rewards and our deposit pool. We have lower effectiveness because we're not pros, and it doesn't make sense to run HA setups. I'm not sure exactly what HA setup stands for. I presume some kind of redundancy or in data centers maybe. It says we do worse than MEV on average because we're not pros and that we don't play timing games. And he says we have higher commission, about 14% instead of 10%. And then MEV luck helps add some noise to make it harder to compare, but that shouldn't have a bias. So the rETH rewards are a bit lower. There's one way that the rewards could meaningfully increase, and that is with in the short term, Node, Houston, if there's any whale marriages happening around that, and then with NodeSet, I think we'll empty out the deposit pool, and with an empty deposit pool, hopefully we'll be able to get some better APR, and then eventually with universal variable commission, if the deposit pool is full for a long time, then we'll change the commission on rETH to make it lower, make it higher to get more node operators coming online, and then that will hopefully let us reduce the commission going forward. So there's some ways that we can play around with it, but I'll let you all know how all that stuff is going, of course. Okay, next we have this update from Maverick here in the ping server, and he says, our friends at Prisma asked for an important message to be passed along. There are 3 addresses that were using rETH and Prisma that need to revoke approval. This is following the Prisma security incident last week. The addresses are listed below. Having the 3 addresses revoked is an essential step for the unpausing of the Prisma protocol. You can contact the Prisma team directly for questions, drop me a DM, and I can get you in touch with them. Please be safe. So here there's 3 addresses that are listed. So it's like 0x4EBFC. And that person has $16,201 worth of rETH in Prisma, or I guess that might be the loan amount, I'm not sure. Then there is 0x7B7, sorry, 0x787B24, and that person has $22,142, and 0x93E45, that person has $10,611. So if you are one of these people, please, or if you know one of these people, please get in touch with either Mav or the Prisma team. But please, please, please make sure that you are following the correct links, because there's a whole lot of really scammy links out there. So it's better to make sure that you verify and are sure. In the protocol, in the ping server, and in the link below, you can follow the intern's tweet and then follow the links from there, because I don't want you all to get dinged, of course. Okay, and finally, this is especially for Pateris. We're going to be talking about some technical analysis. So here, Find Your Moon, who has his Moon's Elliott Wave channel, had this post about what he's seeing on the technical analysis of Ethereum's Ether right now. And he says, guys, this sideways chop doesn't get us anywhere. The structure doesn't add up as an Elliott Wave triangle, which usually is my go-to on these sort of behaviors. So what are we dealing with here? This is perhaps we've got more complex WXY 333 structure for wave 4, but even then the shape isn't ideal. For now, I'm going to watch this closely. This is $3,338 and $3,656 are the 2 numbers we want to watch, and I don't care about little pokes and prods at either of these levels. We need to see a decisive move above or below with actual closes. Until then, we're just waiting to see what the market decides to do next. So basically what he's saying is, like, for the last week here, the price has been like super sideways. And it's not really been moving much, and because of that, it's the technical analysis patterns that he normally likes to use don't apply. However, the price has, since his post, moved down, and it wicked down to 3,235, but now it's kind of recovering back into 3,300. So like he said, 3,388 is the value that he's watching. So technically we're below that value right now. But let's see where we close at the end of the day. Let's see if we can make a move up above that and get back into the range, because otherwise it looks like we might be moving a leg down according to Moon's technical analysis. Of course, none of this is trading advice. And then he also has some news about the RPL token against ETH on the ratio, and he says that a second mediocre attempt at breaking the 0.0076 level and another rejection. He says this is a good look in the long run, team. We've still got a long way to go here, but we may be starting to see the beginning of a real flaw for the market at the moment. 0.0076 is the 88.7% Fibonacci retracement level for the entire cycle wave 1, a very critical fib. Below it, we usually worry about the death of an asset, but for now, we're still staying afloat. We need more buy volume here, guys. Let's effing go. So, like Moon says, the cycle low for the RPL token was in the summer of 2022 when we hit 0.0076. Since then, of course, went all the way up to the dizzying heights of 0.035. And of course, now we are back down to those 0.0076 levels. According to Moon, as long as we can hold these values here, we should be good for getting a bounce. And, we should be good for building up a platform for the upcoming bull run, and hopefully, taking out those 0.0035 levels, because as the waves get higher, then you tend to see new highs. So I'll definitely keep you up to date with some of Moon's bigger fib numbers as well. But in the meantime, let's keep an eye on what ETH and RPL are doing, and hopefully the price action looks good for all of us. But on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have lovely days ahead, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.